Thanks for tuning in to Houston Real Estate Radio this Sunday evening. To learn more about real estate news and information you can use on your next real estate transaction. As always, every Sunday we're here from 6 to 7 p.m. answering your real estate questions. You can call us at 281-882-8088, and we'll be happy to answer your real estate questions on the air. You can call us during the hour that we're on the air, or you can call us anytime 24/7 and leave your question, and we'll answer it the next Sunday. We've got a lot of great things lined up for this week's show. One of the things we want to talk about is this outlook that's coming for 2014. Things have been going great in the Houston housing market. We're really excited about that. So we want to give you some information on that. And if you're driving and you miss any of today's show, make sure you go out to HoustonRealEstateRadio.com. We put all of the shows out there online, so you can go back and listen to them, get any information you need off of them. If you want to tweet in your questions, we're also on Twitter. You can use hashtag HRER to send over those questions if you've got some. All right, so I have my first guest today. We've got Scott Norman. He's the executive director of the Texas Association of Home Builders, for home builders. And, you know, it's really interesting because the home builder outlook can sometimes be a little bit different than the resale market. But, Scott, this year, it looks like 2014, it's going to be great for resales and new construction. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. 2013 has been a great year as it's coming to a close, and the outlook remains very hot for 2014 statewide.
Yeah, throughout the state, it's a great thing. And, you know, really throughout the country, it's getting better. But I think it's just great here in Texas.
Yes, it is. I mean, you know, you look at all the data. We've had a pretty rough last 4 or 5 years, really, across the state. And even though, you know, we were down 2/3 from our peaks in late 2007, we have led the nation in housing starts as a state every year during the downturn, and are going to again this year, more than the next 3 or 4 states combined, actually, which is amazing to think about. But those numbers are coming back. I mean, and they are rising. I think the most recent data we have is through October of this year, and the permits for the 12 months ending in October 13 are 16% more new home permits or new building permits, single-family homes, 16% more than the year before.
That's so exciting because, you know, for a while there were so many builders going out of business. They didn't have any money to build with, first of all, and then they didn't have any clients to build for. And, you know, a lot of them went out of business. Do you think that we're going to see a lot of home builders coming back into the fold now that things are getting better?
Well, I mean, certainly those that have survived the downturn are stronger and better for it, and there has certainly been a definite exodus from our industry in the last 5 years or so. But many of our folks held on, and there will be certainly more coming into the market. You see some of the national companies that have not had a presence in Texas, either acquiring companies or moving their operations into various markets around the state, especially Austin, Dallas, San Antonio, and Houston, of course. And you'll see more of that. But I think, you know, a lot of it is going to be growth from our member companies and others that have survived this downturn. And it's going to continue to stay hot. The signs look good for at least the next year, and we hope beyond if we can keep steady growth.
One of the things that we have a problem with here around our Houston area is land. I mean, the builders are ready to build and are able to get funding, and the land is just hard to acquire in our area. Are you seeing that throughout the state?
We are in the hottest markets. I think, you know, there are 25 MSA or statistical markets that the National Association of Home Builders tracks in Texas. And in all of those but 9, we have seen an increase, and some of them quite dramatically, in the number of permits. And those 9 are all in smaller markets around the state. So all of the larger communities around the state have seen an increase in single-family permits the past 12 months. And the lot shortage is reflecting that. I mean, they say, you know, healthy average for inventory of homes on the market is, 6.5 months? Right now, the average in Texas is 4 months. In some markets, like here in Austin, where our state association is based, it's as low as 3 months inventory, and that's reflecting. I mean, that is showing the great demand that's out there, and we are seeing a lot shortage. You see a lot more because of that demand, prices are rising, and you see a lot of developers are now turning dirt and are beginning projects or getting subdivisions developed. But there was so little of that occurred in the last 5 years. There's a lag time. This happens every cycle, but it's going to drive up costs, and builders are struggling, especially in desirable markets or submarkets within each region.
How are things going with the financing? I mean, I hear it's definitely gotten better, but is it where we need to be now for small builders to be able to get the funds they need to start building and break ground on new projects?
Well, it is certainly improved drastically from where we were just a short 2 years ago. 2 years ago, that was probably the number one issue that we were hearing from builders all over the state and nationally as a national concern as well, that our National Association was trying to address in D.C. with all the changes to the lending laws and the banking and finance laws, some which was certainly needed, but and banks had really pulled their horns in on lending money. But with the hot markets that we have going now, and from what I'm hearing from our members around the state, who are some of them starting to do spec homes again, the financing is loosening up, and we are seeing the availability of funding there for the smaller and mid-sized builders.
Good.
Some of the large publicly traded builders and other large builders have plenty of cash and are well positioned to move forward. But it will continue to be market specific, and there will always be a place for the smaller builder.
Yeah. Do you think that that builders right now are having issues with appraisals, and will there be issues with appraisals in 2014, or do you think those are behind us?
I think that similar to financing has improved dramatically. I think there is always a continuing education process as home technology changes and the markets are especially as hot as they are right now. There's some fluctuations going on, but it is certainly better than it has been.
We've got Scott Norman on the line. He's the executive director of the Texas Association of Builders, so he knows what's going on all over the state. So it's great to get your perspective. And I know that you used to be a Capitol staffer and a lobbyist. So let's turn a little bit, talk about some political things that are going on. Do you see anything going on politically that could impact 2014 for builders?
Well, both nationally and here in Texas, there is a lot going on. And the number one driver of Texas, especially this renaissance right now, is our job growth. And Texas has been leading the nation in job growth. In fact, I think we've added almost 460,000 jobs since January of 2012, double the national average. And that's the main driver for the real estate market, the housing market, is lowering unemployment. And so I think both decisions nationally and on the state level need to keep that in mind. And when we had the government shutdown or potential default, things that scare people about what's going to happen that can affect their finances as well, that causes concern. And so to the extent that those national issues don't pop up, that certainly helps. On the state level, it's 2014 is all the statewide elected officials are up. All 150 state house members are up for election or re-election, and half of the 31 senators. And so we're going to have a contested race for governor, lieutenant governor, comptroller, attorney general on down the line. So it's going to be very, very interesting. And our state association and our state PAC obviously engages in races and helps and tries to support candidates that are pro-housing and support the American dream of home ownership.
Absolutely. It's important. We got a lot of people moving to our Houston area, and they need housing. So we continue with our housing shortage. I don't see that going away in 2014, but I know the builders are busy getting new projects off the ground. So there's a lot of exciting things happening. I think it's going to be a great year in 2014 for builders.
It really is. I mean, when you think about it, the state demographer is saying somewhere between about 1,600 people a day are moving to the state of Texas.
That's a lot of traffic.
It is. It's a lot of traffic, and it's a lot of people that need places to sleep.
Yeah.
And so our population's expected to double in the state in the next 40 years, which creates all kinds of challenges for the state, from water, roads, schools,
infrastructure
you
problems.
name it.
Yeah.
But it is a great opportunity in our industry because we're going to have to provide housing for these
That's
folks,
right.
whether it's single family, multifamily, you name it.
All right. Thanks so much, Scott. I appreciate it. You're listening to Houston Real Estate Radio, and we'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.